talk about what's really important here?
Why not just let the environmentalists run the country?
You get the government you deserve.
A voice on your radio.
These people are taking the train to Crazy Town.
This is a media election.
I think we need to get serious about this global warming thing.
When did you stop taking your antidepressants?
A voice for the common man.
I feel like I'm living in some kind of nightmare.
From the L.B. Smith Ford Lincoln Mercury Studios.
I have had it with these goofballs.
Husband and I have been listening to you for I don't know how many years.
This is the Bob Durgin Show.
Hey, Tom. Thanks for the news, everybody. And hello. I hope you had a great weekend. Under current Pennsylvania law, a person's level of education can greatly affect their automobile insurance rates. For example, under this law, insurance companies are allowed to charge much higher rates to drivers with no college degree compared to those that have a college degree. Now, there's been a bill introduced in the Pennsylvania legislature that would, if it was ever passed into law, would eliminate this practice. Eric Poe's with us. He's with the Cure Auto Insurance Company out of New Jersey. Is it, Eric?
Yes, that is. It's based in New Jersey, but we also expanded into Pennsylvania. So we also write auto insurance in Pennsylvania now as well.
What do you think of this practice?
I think it's pretty obvious. I'm somewhat outspoken on this issue that it's a proxy for income, much like credit scores is. There is actuarial data and statistical data that can show you that the higher income drivers produce more profitability for our industry, and that is why income proxies, such as a person's education level, or whether or not they have a high credit score, or whether or not they work in a high-paying job, are being proliferated uses by insurance companies to rate and underwrite.
What?
Yeah.
What? You're talking insurance lingo to me.
Sorry.
Speak plain English here.
Okay, plain English. If you look at the data, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this, but it's pretty fairly ingrained that people that are more wealthy are more profitable to insurance companies. So any type of underwriting or, let's say, way to rate you that can be used as a proxy for how much money you make is something that definitely has a value to insurance companies because they want to insure the most wealthy drivers. And
so they do this by offering them a lower rate.
Correct. It's a somewhat sophisticated redlining. What they end up doing, for example, let's say Geico Insurance Company, if you say you go on Geico and they will always ask you what your education level is. If you say that you have a high school diploma only, you will subject yourself only to be eligible for their less preferred company, which charges significantly higher rates. So you'll get a policy or you'll get a rate quote, and it'll say Geico Indemnity Company, which you don't know that's any different from Geico General. But Geico General is the insurance company that you'd be eligible for if you had a master's degree, let's say, or if you had a PhD. And you would get substantially lower rates. So it's become somewhat of a sophisticated model that the auto insurers have started to do throughout the country.
Well, is this discriminatory in your opinion?
I think it's definitely discriminatory because 49 out of the 51 territories requires and mandates insurance for people who own vehicles. So it's discriminatory because you're basically telling somebody that you might not be able to afford car insurance simply because you're likely to be poorer than somebody else. The people with the highest rates are the people who can afford it the least. And if you can't afford it, guess what? You face being pulled over and fines and possibly jail. So that's where you run into a public policy problem.
Well, I'm sure the insurance companies that have this practice don't consider it discriminatory. And what is their argument?
Well, their argument is fairly simple, that they can show you that credit scores, education level, or occupations can show a correlation to loss ratios, which is a measure of profitability. So basically they say, look, I can divide all the people in the world by credit scores or education levels, and the people who have the highest education levels and the people who have the highest credit scores are people who have the highest losses for us. Okay? And that means that they're the least profitable for us. That's true. So they say that is actuarial proof to support that we should be able to use these factors to determine rates. And it sounds like a fairly simple equation to understand in a capitalist society. But you can't argue capitalistic ideals in an environment which has a socialistic sort of value, which is that insurance, we mandate it in our states simply because we believe it's for the greater good. You're making somebody who lives in a trailer buy car insurance. And if you're going to make somebody who normally doesn't need insurance to protect themselves buy it, then I think you have a public policy concern. You have to actually you have some sort of vested interest in making sure that it's affordable for everybody if you're going to mandate it.
So they use credit scores, a person's salary or wage, and education levels to discriminate against people who have low education levels, low wages, and bad credit.
Now, everything you said is correct except for the wages, because they don't dare go into the realm of asking how much money do you make, Bob, to determine what they're going to charge you for car insurance. But I can tell you there's more than one way to skin a cat. So essentially what I'm saying is if you take a U.S. census and you pick it up tomorrow, you can see that based upon educational level attainments, people with higher levels of education have a straight line correlation to higher incomes in this country. So instead of me using a reprehensible and a factor that almost everyone would say this is ridiculous to say how much money do I make to pay for car insurance, we'll disguise it and instead we'll use, hey, what if you have a 4-year college degree or a master's? Those people will have lower rates.
Tom, you're on WHP. Hello.
Hey, Bob, it's Tom. I think this is the biggest bunch of horse crap I've ever heard in my life, and it's just ridiculous.
I agree 100%.
That's why I don't understand how they can do this to people, hardworking people. Yeah, they don't have a college degree. Big deal. They're out there busting their butt 12, 14 hours a day.
And that's why we came into Pennsylvania, because we've been stirring up the marketplace since we've discovered this. We're not a publicly traded company. We're not out here. We don't have investors to please. But it just shows you that when you have a multi-billion-dollar industry that contributes millions and millions of dollars to lobbyists, that they can make big business work. And if you don't know about it, you're not going to complain about it. That's why we're out here in the front telling people that this is going on. People have no idea that you're getting insurance from the substandard insurance company. That's why they have 4 different companies bearing their same trademark name. So Geico has Geico Indemnity, Geico Casualty, Geico General. If you ask every person in the United States and you took a poll, how many Geicos are there, they'll think that there's only one.
Why don't these companies have to tell the individuals that have policies with them that they're paying a higher rate because you don't have a college education? Why don't they have to tell them that?
And that's actually one of the things that we've been trying to say is a baby step would simply be just like the Fair Credit Reporting Act requires notice that you're getting a worse rate because you don't have a perfect credit score. There should be transparency in this so that the people in this state, whether it's Pennsylvania or New Jersey, the 73% of adult population over 25 that doesn't have a 4-year college degree can call up their legislator and say, this is absolutely unacceptable. If you want to be an insurance industry and you guys want to make profits, make your profits, but do not do it on the backs of the hardworking people in this state or in this country for that matter, because it's practiced in almost every state in the country.
Thanks, Bob. Have a good day.
All right. 540-0580 WHP. We'll be right